I am joined in the studio today by Gaynor, who has been responsible for brightening up my town of Barkham recently.
I have.
You're responsible for town crochet bombing.
Yep, yarn bombing, that's
Yarn
right.
bombing.
Yes, we yarn bombed Wokingham many times actually over the last few years.
Yeah,
But more recently for the Jubilee.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes. It was so joyous. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Really,
We loved
really
it.
enjoyed it.
We loved it.
And we've persuaded you to join us to show the sort of things that you do. I mean, yes, decorating the town is one thing.
Yep.
And we'll come back to that maybe, but when people talk about crochet, I think of this.
Right.
Is this old-fashioned or not really?
Do you know what? It's as old-fashioned as you make it. And these days, I don't think that looks particularly old-fashioned, and it's lovely to have inside your front room or even on your bed. I mean, these are, yes, they are a square. They're a bit like a granny square, using the same stitches in a granny square, but slightly differently. So it started with a circle. And this is a lovely technique, actually. You can do this technique. It's called join as you go. So every time you finish a square, before you finish the next square, you join it and do the last row whilst finishing the second square.
So you're telling me there's no sewing up?
There's no sewing up.
Oh,
So at the
I
end
would
of
like
the
that.
time, you've got your blanket and it's finished, and all you need to do is do the edging.
That sounds
Yeah.
like me. Sewing up
It's great.
has
It's
always
great.
been my nightmare.
Yes.
That is very different though.
Yes.
What the piece next to it, that must be crochet as well.
This one, should I come around this way? This one is called mosaic crochet, so it's just a different technique.
Okay.
It's very, very easy. It looks very complicated, but it's not. It's double crochets and the odd treble thrown in.
So do you follow a chart a bit like cross stitch?
Exactly the same.
For-
You follow
for
a chart
that.
and you go along and you do your doubles where they tell you, you do your trebles where they tell you, and you end up with, I mean, that's a very, very simple one. You can imagine there's no end to it. If you imagine a chart like cross
Yes,
stitch, you can
yes,
make
yes.
pictures with it, but it's a very dense, thick blanket,
I was
so
going
it's
to
very,
say
very
looks
warm.
more dense because this has got holes
That's
in it.
right,
if you see what I
that's
mean.
right,
Because
that's
I know
right.
they're meant to be there, but you know what I mean.
Exactly, yeah, no, it is a much denser blanket. Yeah.
So in front of us, part of the town decoration,
Yes.
you've reclaimed. presumably,
Absolutely,
into
yeah,
your
we've
shed.
taken them all down and I store them all and we take them out again for the following year because sometimes they can be used for, so these were used for the Jubilee, so we did them all red, white and blue. This is a good old-fashioned hula hoop which we got donated to us by
nice.
local town people. We just asked for them, and it's just any yarn you've got, using up your stash if you want to, and just crocheting a pattern.
Bobbly bits.
Bobbly bits, yeah, those are crochet popcorns or crochet bobbles. So they're all different. You don't have to stick to a pattern. Some people just did lines and lines and lines of a solid wheel instead. It doesn't matter. But we put these up for the Jubilee, and we also put them up for the poppy appeal because we make loads and loads of poppies. I've got some of the poppies I've made here.
these.
So I crochet these poppies, and everyone in our group, the Barkham Hookers, I run a group called the Barkham Hookers, and they're the people that help me do all this. I mean, I know no way can I do this all on my own.
And these presumably are sold to raise
For
funds.
the poppy appeal, exactly. So we've probably raised over £55,000 in the last 10 years selling crochet poppies. So we make them for humans, and we also make purple ones for pets. And I put a little, not this one, this has got a brooch pin on, but I can put a sort of a row of chains on the back. And then you can tuck the dog's bridle, the horse's bridle, or the dog's collar, and you put them on the dog or on the horse.
Now I know you're going to show us how to make one of these, but this has got a very special button on. This is just not any old button.
Yes, that's right. This has got a vintage forces button. In actual fact, I'm not sure which one that was. I'm not even sure. That might be actually a fashion button that's made to look like a military button.
But nevertheless.
But I do have military buttons, so I use RAF buttons and Royal Navy buttons, and I take orders from members of the public that live near me that give me their grandfather's buttons or their grandmother's buttons, and I'll make them a poppy with their grandparents' buttons on, and that's very special.
I was going to have some of my dad's old uniform buttons.
Yes.
So I'll
and
be in
sometimes
touch.
people will just send them to me in the post, and I'll say, please, can you make me one of these? Keep the rest, make me one, and I'll send them one back.
Oh, lovely.
So that's quite nice.
Gorgeous. And as I said, I know you're sharing this with me.
I am.
And this is a stash buster. Look what a great idea this is.
Stash buster. We all have a good stash buster. If you're like me, you've got masses and masses of yarn in your house, so you probably will never use. So this is a really good way of using it. 4 strands of double knit all together. So it's quite heavy and it's quite chunky.
It is. Yeah.
But it uses up a good amount of yarn. You know, a big one like this uses up about 500 grams of double knit, and the smaller ones probably 300.
Bright and cheerful as well as
and they
being
fold flat,
practical.
so you can put them in the back of your car. You don't need to be, you don't need to be fragile with them, or don't be precious with them. Just use them.
They're really lovely.
Yeah, they're a great way
really
to use up the stash.
So, well, thank you so much for joining
You're very
me
welcome.
today.
It's been lovely to be here.